Pandemonium Reigns.
Yo, 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 welcome to Pandemonium Reigns. Mike, question for you.
Let's hear it.
Do you know what's better than one Pandemonium Reigns episode in a day?
How about two of them?
How about two of them things?
Hey,
Two of them things.
How many picks did Alabama throw against Clemson?
Two of them.
Two of them.
You know,
Baby.
that's an old joke, but I don't care. I don't care. Give me
It
that.
fits. It
Give
fits.
me that. Hey man, listen, this is a special OrangeCast, and one of these days, I'm telling you, very, very soon, I'm going to be telling you, Mike, today's episode brought to you by fill in the blank. I don't know who it is. I have an idea who it is because I had a good conversation recently with a potential sponsor. But anyway, it's coming. Anyway, with that said, today is a OrangeCast. We're only talking the University of Tennessee Volunteers only. So if you don't like it, please
Get
stay.
out. Yeah, I kid, but please stay.
I kid. Hey, we're here, baby, and we're coming off a big win in Pittsburgh. We're 2-0, right? We're about to be 3-0. Okay, so a little bit for us. I about said a lot. I don't know, maybe a lot. Who knows? Maybe a little bit. I don't know.
Maybe.
Needless to say, some stuff for us to talk about because we left some things on the field in Pittsburgh to be desired, right?
Yes, we did.
So let's break this down a little bit by, maybe by position group. So let's talk defense first because we had a incredible performance from our defense in Pittsburgh, but specifically talking the secondary for a second. What do you want to see out of dudes like Jalen McCullough and Trayvon Flowers and Kamal Haddon and Warren Burrell in this Akron game?
Man, I've got some things I want to see. I would like to see from maybe Burrell, starting with the corners. And Kamal Haddon gets a bit of a pass on this because he's much more your prototypical, I'm going to be in your face. Like, You got to beat me. Like, Burrell, you'll see him give some more slack. And drop off a few yards at the line of scrimmage. Don't do that Saturday. Like,
Right.
Show me that you can line up on a dude.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They're not as good as you.
Oh,
They're not going to beat you.
they know.
Line up and show me that you can do it. And the same goes for anybody that gets in the game because, again, they're worse than Ball State. You're going to get guys in the game unless things just went completely haywire. I've never heard this many people say, "Oh, Tennessee's going to win. They're going to murder." I've never heard this many people say it in the stuff that I listen to on the daily.
Yeah.
And there's no scenario where Tennessee should be in a ball game by the second quarter. So even the guys that get in the game later on at corner, show me that you can line up, that you can press up, that you can do it, because you're going to have to do it as the season goes on. If those young guys, as your career progresses.
Yeah. From
From the safeties, man. Gosh, dude, I want to see playing your assignments. I want to see you taking better angles.
Hey, can I address this very quickly? Because I actually had somebody stop me last week and they said, "Hey, I was listening to your show," and I was like, "Thank you, that's awesome." And they were like, "What do you mean by this angle thing?" So, as the defender pursues the ball carrier, they need to take a great angle. Here's what you need to understand: the defender does not need to run where the ball carrier is. They need to run to where the ball carrier is going. They need to make up grass, as a football coach would say. So you're kind of headed to where they're going. Like, if imagine a triangle with the point up top, and the point is where that ball carrier is going. You're going to kind of meet him at that point, the top of the triangle. If you take anything south of that angle, you're beat. You have to meet him where he is going. And Trayvon and Jalen, if I remember right, mainly Trayvon though, took a couple bad angles, and it cost us some yards. Cost us some yards.
even things like, and listen, props to the Pittsburgh tight end that hurdled Trayvon Flowers. Props to him. It's a difficult play to execute. You don't see it very much because, frankly, it's tough to do. And Trayvon, I believe, did leave his feet there and kind of helped him do it.
He launched,
but you got to understand that there's nobody behind you, and you've got this giant thing called out of bounds, the boundary. Use it to your advantage. Play smarter. And listen, Trayvon made plays down the stretch that helped Tennessee win the game, as did McCullough, I'm sure. But, be in position, play your assignments, better angles, focus on it. Don't let it slow you down, but please take better angles, because what happened on the 76-yard Israel Abanikanda run can't happen. Cannot happen in SEC play. And again, not just on the safeties there. Linebackers, where you at? But again, can't happen. Cannot happen. Fix those things.
Absolutely.
That's definitely where my mind's at on the secondary, on this secondary. Excuse me.
Yeah, and I think regarding the secondary, we should, if not, we better be seeing a rotation again.
Yes,
with Kamal Hadden and Christian Charles. That should resurface. We should see some other dudes at the safety spot rotating too.
I agree completely.
If I'm Tim Banks, defense coordinator for Tennessee, and the position coach for the safeties, I'm looking at Jalen and Trayvon and say, you're gonna have to earn it for me this week.
Agreed.
I need to see a better performance out of you. Now listen, Trayvon Flowers made an incredible interception at Pittsburgh that really kind of flipped the mojo for us and allowed our offense to kind of come out with some spunk.
Mm-hmm.
But the bad balanced out the good, and we can't have that. Pittsburgh did not get our best. I don't know if we got their best, but I don't think that they got our best. So we need to see some rotation. We need to be looking at Tank, which is Jalen and Trayvon, saying, listen, you're gonna have to earn your job this week.
Agreed. Because like we've talked about, those young guys in that secondary, I think will be money down their careers for you. But
sure.
Sorry to cut you off there a minute ago, but young Harrison, boy, dude, Christian Harrison, give me more. You got any more sons, Rodney Harrison? Because I'm not saying Christian.
You got any more of them babies?
I'm saying give me people that have been coached all their life by Rodney Harrison.
Yes.
That's what I want.
Yes,
man.
yes.
And I like a lot of those young guys, man. Jordan Thomas he's been out there, dude. He's kind of flashed. I'm excited about D. Williams getting healthy, man. I want to see him at the punt returner, especially.
You know what?
Wait
a second. Jordan Thomas, dude has earned himself some time on special teams, right?
Especially against Akron, against Akron.
Yes, dude has been hustling. Okay.
Yeah.
With a bold apostrophe, hustling. He's been making some plays on special teams. So I want to see him get some snaps. On defense. I want to see, matter of fact, it better be more than it was at Ball State. We need to see a lot of dudes.
Absolutely.
We need to see a lot of dudes, because if we can get deeper, I know it's just 1 week, but if we can get deeper going to Florida, hey, let's get deeper. But anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about linebackers for a second. What do you want to see? How does it? What should we? If you're the linebacker coach, what are you telling Beasley and what are you telling Banks, Solon Page going into this week?
Yeah, absolutely. Play clean football, man. Beasley, gosh, I would love to be coaching Aaron Beasley right now because he's making you look good. Yes. Dude's taking a big step.
Yes.
And he's playing better than I could have ever imagined. Absolutely. A converted running back playing the position. And I know those two positions go hand in hand. They really do. But man, he's playing so well right now. This should be the week that you get Juwan Mitchell back, per all accounts. If we ever see Juwan Mitchell on the field as a ball again, should start this week. Mm-hmm. So let's get him lots of PT, get him ready for the SEC schedule, get him back in the mix. Mm-hmm. I do think there's excuse me. Let me start over. Jeremy Banks can play better than he has so far.
Yes.
Before Trayvon Flowers got hurled down the sideline, you had Banks going more to the flat when he probably should have fallen back. I don't know the schemes, that's you, but he opened that up big time for that tight end. So yeah, let's see Banks play some better assignments and execute a little bit better. But man, for Aaron Beasley, you're probably looking at a short, easy day because I would say Mitchell can take his playing time,
Mm-hmm.
get Banks some of the other playing time to just kind of iron some things out. And then I want to see a lot of young Elijah Herring.
Yeah. Hey, great point. Hey, before we transfer into or switch into D-line real quick, can I throw something at you? Let me ask you something here. Is Aaron Beasley our 2022, or excuse me, our 21 Theo Jackson?
Man, it looks like it so far. Over the offseason and probably starting with our first discussions, our first podcast, it felt like it was going to be Trayvon Flowers because Theo he was in the secondary there at Star.
Mm-hmm.
And they are basically the same age as Theo was last year in terms of what class they came in, how long they'd been on campus. And when you look at Vol's social media, you see Trayvon Flowers. They love the guy, and understandably so. He's a great representative. He's well-spoken. He's a solid kid. He's a solid player usually.
Absolutely.
But boy, does it look like it's Aaron Beasley. And how freaking big would it be for Tennessee to get 21 Theo Jackson and a linebacking core, man?
Absolutely. And we're saying that if you're listening to us today, we're not real sure what we're talking about. In 21, Theo Jackson just kind of came out on the scene out of nowhere. A huge improvement from the year before, and ended up being monumental for us on the defensive side of the ball. So if we can get an Aaron Beasley kind of coming out of nowhere, right?
Yes,
that
absolutely.
would be massive, especially like Mike just said, out of the linebacker core, where we're looking at this going into the season going, oh crap.
Yeah, we're wincing and
yeah. But right now, like, we're about to play game 3 right now. Out of 2 games, give me Aaron Beasley MVP for us. I mean, he's
absolutely
extremely valuable to us right now. All right, let's shift to D-line. You mentioned Herring. The only thing I feel bad for even asking the question, like, what do we want to see out of the defensive line when they actually they played lights out last week.
Oh, absolutely.
They were so good. So I feel bad for even asking the question. But before I say that, like, does our boy Gardner have a raise yet after what he's done with this D-line? Like, give it to him.
Man, if I can throw a few pennies and dimes and nickels up your way to chime in, let me do it.
Yeah.
Because, dude, oh my gosh, his unit was so much better than we've ever seen in this year in 2 games, which is funny to say. Yeah. But again, the defensive line was probably one of the biggest letdowns over the Pruitt era. The defense as a whole was a letdown, but it was always just slow to get to the quarterback, and they couldn't fill gaps, and just one thing or the other. And linebackers play a part there too. Don't get me wrong.
Right. Sure.
But dude, if it's not Aaron Beasley at the MVP, it's like, who do you choose, man? Because Barron was great.
Barron's great.
Young was great.
Yes.
Omari Thomas.
Yes.
Dude.
Yes.
You're making yourself some money this past Saturday.
Yeah, dude. Climbing up the draft boards, in my opinion.
Absolutely, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, tell you what I want to see. Give me, if it's like that Ball State game, there's not a lot of sacks, there's no sacks. I understand that Akron probably got the ball out pretty quick. Mm-hmm. But the good thing is if he's healthy, if he can go, Akron has a pretty dynamic dual threat quarterback in terms of who Akron is. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's not Anthony Richardson. He's not that guy, but it's a good test. Can you stay in your lanes? Can you keep him in the greater region of the pocket? Can you make him throw?
Yeah.
This is a perfect tune-up ahead of a really dynamic runner in Anthony Richardson. Mm-hmm. The verdict's still out, jury's still out on him as a passer, but it's a great tune-up. Now, I'll say that to say, or I'll also add, USF also plays Gary Bohannon, the Baylor transfer, kind of a good tune-up for them as well. Mm-hmm. Neither one is Hendon Hooker or Anthony Richardson, but good that it lines up well for a week and a half from now, or a week from now as we approach the weekend. But stay in your lanes, more pressure, more quarterback hits.
Mm-hmm. Man, I like it. Let's sum it up with pressure. And here's I went to Akron's stats from the Michigan State game. Now you're going to find this fascinating. So they had 2 quarterbacks that got significant snaps. QB, I guess, is QB1. I'm not real sure. 22 attempts, 11 completions, only 80 yards. All right, on 11 completions. Irons, this other guy, 9 for 13, so less completions, less attempts, 123 yards. Good for 203 as a total. I think more QB pressure is a very fair ask.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And I'm actually sorry to be looking down. I'm looking for the stats right now. And the reason is because that dual threat, that dynamic quarterback did get injured in that Michigan State game. So we'll see if he's good to go. I hope that he is, because I want the defensive line to have to worry about containment and the threat of him running. I do. Yes. Excuse me. Irons there. DJ Irons is your starter. He's the dynamic dual threat guy. So I hope to goodness he can play, because I really want the defense overall to get that test. But test is a bit of a strong word because it is Akron. But again, give me that ahead of Anthony Richardson.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Probably expect Akron to have a near similar game plan to what Ball State did, and just not even 3-step dropping, just snap, throw. I would expect that. But, they're Akron. Who knows? Maybe LeBron James will be in attendance. Who knows? Probably not. Hey, let's switch to the offensive side of the ball. Let's work from the inside out. Let's talk offensive line. What do we – because I have a big ask. At least I think I do. I think I do anyway. And it's you better open up the freaking Red Sea against these guys, because what you did against Pitt as far as running lanes was trash.
It was absolute hot dog water, man. And I'm right there with you. I don't care what. Look, the only good thing against Pitt is that you won, and Hendon Hooker didn't get hurt. But the running was atrocious for me, and I understand that the backs probably played a part in that. Wright turned it over again. He put the ball on the ground again. Not ideal, but you better be getting 5 to 10 yards before they get touched this week. Frankly,
yeah.
You need to be opening up some major gaps, because the Akron team is not good.
They're bad.
They're really bad. You better be opening up the Red Sea, like Dan said, for these guys, because you're going to have to run the ball. The staff loves to run the ball. It sets up everything that Tennessee does. So prove to me that you can do it. And gosh, you got to do it against Akron. You got to.
Absolutely. This is how bad Akron is. They went into overtime against St. Francis, Pennsylvania. Okay, so that's bad. That's bad. That's bad. They're a terrible, terrible team. But I wanted to mention you'd mentioned, excuse me, I want to talk about, because you had mentioned the Jalen Wright fumble. Doesn't it suck that he fumbles on that play? Because I don't know if you remember this, but we came out under center. Hooker was underneath Maze's butt. We get under center. We get under center, right? Old school, hey, watch this. Turn around, hand it off. And the whole freaking Pitt defense gets a hand on that ball.
Yeah.
It sucks for Jalen Wright, because he got turned around, and he's now in this situation of, dear God, just hang on. Please blow the whistle. And whistle wasn't blown in time. You could argue if it's forward progress. I don't think it was. I think the call was right. It was a fumble, but unfortunate for him, unfortunate for us to come out under center and then fumble on that play. I wonder if they'll come back to under center. I wonder if we'll see that in Florida. I'll be like, hey, feels like 98.
Yes. Hey, I hope so, because you may have mentioned this, but it was a 3rd down conversion. We picked up the yards.
Yeah,
it was a short 3rd down. There wasn't many yards to go. We picked it up. And my only issue is that if the roles are reversed, if it's Pittsburgh, if it's Ole Miss, if anybody else is running into that just host of defenders, the whistle probably blows. That's my gripe. I don't think it should have been blown yet, but I know how it would have been. Heck, there would have been no whistle, and we would have returned it for a touchdown, and then doesn't count. That's how it would go.
That makes my heart hurt.
You know how bitter I am.
Well, I'm sure it's coming, because there's a lot of football left in this season left for us to play. Anyway, offensive line, get it together.
Please get it together.
Get it together. If I'm position coach, which, wow, his name escapes me. Help me out.
Glenn Ellerby.
Yes, if I'm Ellerby, I'm looking at those 5 and I'm saying, listen, I don't care how long you've been here. I don't care what your name is. I don't care what your jersey number is. You need to earn it this week, because last week sucked.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope it's been a brutal week of practice for them. Just working on just working on the best you can, because, you really can't simulate what, other than playing Pitt, you can't simulate what Florida is going to bring. You can't simulate what the best D-lines in football are going to bring in probably Georgia and Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way to simulate it, and you're going to have to do better to even have a prayer against those teams and to compete with the other teams.
Yep. All right, let's continue to work from the inside out, and we're going to spin this in a way where we save the best for last. So that means we talk about the running back stable next, in addition to the offensive line.
Yeah.
That's my grade for you. And the performance against Pitt of offensive line did have a lot to do with that. But what do you want to see out of our running backs this week?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I want to see is I want to see all 4 of them, and then some walk-ons that I don't even know get 8 to 10 or 5 to 10 carries. But ultimately, I actually really want to see. I want to see Jabari being the dude that we were told he was going to be this year. And I know, again, offensive line plays a large part in that, but I want to see him physical. Same for Jalen Wright. If he puts the ball on the ground here this game, it better be an absolute freak situation, or I'm going to be moving Dylan Sampson and possibly Justin Williams-Thomas up the depth chart, man. And here's the qualifier here. Jalen Wright missed a lot of time in camp, so he missed a lot of that contact that you get in a game. And heck, even the practice contact is nothing like what you get in the game. But he missed some of that and still was thought of well enough to hold that second spot there behind Jabari Small, or maybe even 1B is how they look at this on staff. But I want to see a bunch of dudes getting carries, a bunch of running backs getting carries. I don't want to see any quarterback carries. And be physical and hold on to the ball, because it's going to take much better than what we've got so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you agree that in the Pitt game, Jalen Wright was more of that dude than Jabari Small was? Jalen seemed to have kind of like an itch he couldn't scratch carrying the ball. Not saying Jabari didn't run hard or anything like that, but Jalen seemed from contact to body language almost that he wanted it more.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. And we were texting about this, and just to share it with you guys, it's going to take me some time, maybe even multiple seasons, to get used to the fact that once a drive starts, we ain't substitute. So if Jalen Wright starts a drive, he's getting the ball, or he's the running back, for that entire drive. And I think that it is what you're saying is reflected in the fact that it seemed like every time we got the ball back, it was Jalen Wright.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. I want the best one on the field, but it seemed like he was a little bit hungrier, and maybe it's from that time that he missed not getting to play in preseason. I don't know.
Maybe.
But yeah, man, he looked hungry, and I really want to see what we heard about Jabari Small this week and in the next coming weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. You make a great point as far as Jabari Small goes. He was the back for those first 2 drives where we went 3 and out. And I don't know what our game plan was. Obviously, I'm not in the field house or the locker room or in the team meetings, but we came out on both of those first downs and was slinging it. Now, if I remember right, the very first play for scrimmage for us was a swing pass to Jabari Small, but
Correct.
It just didn't. Pitt was all over it, shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Running backs got to be better. Got to be better, because Florida's coming to town, right?
Absolutely.
Let's keep working inside out. Let's talk Hendon. What do we want out of Hendon this week? Because there's a lot of conversation there.
There is a lot of conversation there, deservingly so. But I'll tell you what I want to see from Hendon. I want to see the cleanest 6 drives that he's ever had in his life.
Yeah.
Don't even dare think about a 7th drive. I'm talking, if you're hearing me, second quarter, like not even halftime. Yeah. The only argument against what I'm saying, and I'm arguing against myself here, yes, is that I want to see the accuracy on the money.
Yeah.
I want the accuracy of Hendon Hooker 2021 and more, because he is a year older. He's been with the staff longer. And frankly, he's been throwing to Jalen Hyatt and Cedric Tillman for a long time. Some of those guys that are further down the depth chart has been throwing for a long time. And I know from Hendon Hooker's work ethic, that he's been throwing with Brew McCoy since Brew McCoy got to Knoxville.
Yeah.
So I want to see that accuracy ironed out. And I'm not asking for Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. I'm not asking for Heisman accuracy, but I want to see Hendon be Hendon, because I don't feel like we've seen that yet. And I don't know what it is, if it's mechanical, if he's overthinking a little bit. I want to see Hendon be Hendon.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, and I want to piggyback off that and say, as far as the accuracy goes, the situation here, what we're talking about is kind of put the ball in their area.
Yeah,
because there's some plays there, even in the Ball State game, we're going, that ain't it, that ain't it. So we need to see that, and the only reason that I would want to see Hooker in second or third quarter is because we have a big lead, but he's struggling in rhythm, right? He's
yes,
maybe not hitting dudes in stride or something along those lines. But I hope that gets ironed out in the first quarter. But I'll be honest with you, I don't totally hate it if he plays 3 quarters and they're just saying, hey man, we want to get you into a rhythm. Florida will be here next week. Let's get you guys into a rhythm. Let's get you guys into a flow. Let's build some mojo. Let's let you sling it around a little bit. And I'm looking at the offensive line. I'm going, if he touches the ground, I will find you and you will die. Right. Like,
yes.
So anyway. So, hey, let's end on the highest note. Well, you know what? We still need to talk special teams. So,
yes.
but let's before special teams, let's talk receivers.
Let's do it.
Because out of all position groups coming out of the Pitt game, I graded them. I thought they played the best as a unit.
Completely agree. And the reason is that Brew McCoy, what a play he made on third down there to set up the field goal that ultimately allowed you to take the game in overtime. Cedric Tillman getting dang near 20 targets, and he deserves it, man. He deserves it, every one of them. And Jalen Hyatt obviously has put the work in to be trusted enough to get double-digit targets. Yeah. All things that I love. Mm-hmm. And I think you could safely say that Tillman might have actually been the most inconsistent one. That's a stretch because of the plays that he did make. But there were some balls there that he caught a year ago. Mm-hmm. I mean, heck, he really didn't let anything hit the ground a year ago. And don't get me wrong, he made the play that won you the game. Yeah. Hendon trusted him to go box out that DB. He did it. It was beautiful. Yes. Don't dare get it twisted. Yes. But yes, I agree. They graded out the highest to me and still could have done more. So that's crazy. Yeah. But again, if we're talking about what I want to see Saturday, Ball State rotation, man, give me Jimmy Holiday and Callaway. Mm-hmm. Give me Ramel Keaton and Walker Merrill. Yes. I think we can safely assume that we're going to see the 3 that we saw against Pitt when games are on the line. Mm-hmm. When it's that moment. Mm-hmm. But prove to me that we're going to have some guys in those moments next year. Yeah. And if one of those guys is unavailable, prove to me that we're going to have those guys and, show me what you got. Yeah.
So let me address that, but let me say something about that final play offensively to Tillman. Tillman is lined up on the bottom of your screen, and that corner is playing inside leverage. Now, Tillman is running one of two things. He is either running a go, which is just go, run as fast as you can, and that ball is underthrown, and he gets inside of the defender, or, and this is what I think it is, I think it's a skinny post because of the move that he works before the break on the skinny post. That corner has inside leverage on him. If you don't know much about a post, it's straight up field for about 10 to 15 yards, depending on your down and distance or what you're trying to achieve. And a skinny post is going to be less than 45 degrees. And Tillman works a swim move to get inside of him, and that ball is thrown, and he catches it. Fantastic from start to finish on behalf of Tillman. If that is a go route, though, shame on Hendon. Yeah, because that's got to be, if it's a go route, it needs to be outside pylon. All right. So as a unit, though, there's a couple things that I would like to see. I would like to see some Hendon to Holiday completions. Yes. I would like to see some Hendon to Callaway completions. Where the heck is this dude? I'd like to see more Hendon to Walker Merrill. You know what? We don't need 11 catches by Hyatt. We don't need 6 or 7 by Tillman, or whatever he was coming out. I'm okay with a few more to Brew, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Get him some more touches, get that going more. But you know what? As far as a unit, dude, you guys played lights out against Pitt. Go in and get out healthy, please.
Get out healthy. Absolutely.
Please. Hey, before we wind up this show, let's talk special teams for a second. And just kind of like what we want to see here. And I'm gonna. I think I can sum this up, unless you just have something you want to piggyback. Let's fix our punt team, okay?
Yes.
What bothers me, and I said this coming out of the Pitt game, Pitt showed this. They were getting there. They were getting there until they finally got there, and you changed too late, all right? You made your adjustment too late. So let's not do that, all right? Let's work some other – Akron should be punting 52 times on Saturday night. Let's see more than Trayvon. Let's get a Squirrel White fielding some punts. Let's get a somebody, Jimmy Holiday, somebody fielding some punts. I don't know why it's just Trayvon at this point. You can't tell me that Trayvon was the only dude in high school who fielded punts on this roster. Let's get some other looks. So just a couple things that I want to see there. And listen, if I'm Chase McGrath, I'm like, listen, take the night off because, boy, you bombed a 51-yard field goal against Pitt, and nobody saw that coming. Taking you out to Steak and Shake after the night is over. Thank you. That's my
somewhere
NIL
nice.
And somewhere nice for the lady. That's my NIL deal to you, Mr. McGrath. What do you want to see? Special teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me another option at punt returner. If D. Williams is healthy, he's the other guy that was getting talk at that position. Yeah.
But if he's not, though, that's my problem.
Great point. If he's not, you better give me somebody just to tell me that we're not going to be Trayvon every time. And I really question Trayvon because trying to field it over his head. I mean, if you'll remember this, I think let it go. But you'll recall he was a baseball player coming out of high school. He was committed to Kentucky.
Oh, yes.
He's a center fielder, is what he is. So I just question him a little bit. Why attempt that in that moment, especially? Let it go. I don't care if we start on the 1 yard line. It wouldn't be ideal, but let it go. So yeah, give me someone else. If it's not D. Williams, give me someone else. I just want to see options. Yeah. And Trayvon needs to know that he can't do that again, even if he is the best option. And then, yeah, absolutely. Tennessee shouldn't punt. Akron should punt 100 times. But if we do punt, you better not let them get close because Ball State got close. Pittsburgh got home.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh, if they hadn't gotten in the way a little bit, would have returned that for 6.
Yep.
So don't let special teams cost you a game, man. You've got a special group of players that can really go far. Don't let special teams derail it. So pull it all together. I'm glad it happened now. Hopefully we won't see it again. Don't let it happen again.
So says Daddy. Don't let it happen again.
There's my Liam Neeson moment. I will find you, Mike Eckler. I'm kidding. I love you.
Well, you know what? For Tennessee fans, this should be, for lack of better words, a boring weekend. I really just hope that we're not having a conversation come Monday when the next episode drops. You know, we're not looking at each other saying, how did that happen?
Yeah.
You know, that's absolute worst case scenario, which nobody thinks is going to happen because the spread is at 47.5. And I'll take us to cover just because, you know, we snap the ball a lot and we go fast. So I don't hate it. I would like to see before a little closing comment before we hop off here. I'd like to see some Taven Jackson at Q.
I wouldn't mind that even a little bit. You know, I want to see all three. I want to see Joe. I want to see Joe tell me via his play on the field that he has developed that touch. But I also want to see Taven Jackson. It would make the most sense, absolutely, to play him in no more than 4 games and redshirt him. But it's game 3. You don't have a ton of blowouts coming. Get him some time.
Yeah.
A bunch of blowouts on paper. Excuse me. You could certainly wax a Missouri or a South Carolina, but don't let it come to that. Oh, let it be. Absolutely. Go ahead and get Taven in the game. Let's see what we're working with.
Well, he got some snaps against Ball State, but none of them were passes, if I remember right. Let's see him throw a little bit. You know what? Show some love to the fans and let's see what we got in the quarterback room, you know, because
absolutely.
Listen, worst case scenario is Hooker gets hurt and you're like, well, that's not going to happen. Listen, it happened to QB1 last year at Pitt or against Pitt. So it's totally inside the realm of possibility. I want to know if Hooker is not the guy for whatever worst case scenario, God-given reason, that somebody is pushing Milton to be better.
Absolutely.
So I want to see Taven Jackson.
Couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. If I see more than 3 quarterbacks, I'll be tickled pink. Give me some Gaston Moore and Navy Schuler, baby.
Woo! Tickled pink. Gaston Moore. Isn't that a dude from like one of the Disney, or is that, you know what I'm talking about? I don't know. My daughter reads all these Disney princesses, and I'm sure like Gaston or something. I'm telling you, it's in there somewhere.
I almost, it's on the tip of my tongue, but I just can't pull it out.
I don't know. Disney was never my thing. But you know who is? The Volunteers, because this
That's right.
was Pandemonium Reigns. Listen, we're on Apple Podcasts. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on Spotify. We're on Pandora. We're on Google Podcasts. We're everywhere you should, anywhere you get your podcast, we should be there. And if we are not, message us. Let us know, because we want to tickle your ears on every platform. We want to find you and just give you all of the orange love. It is my goal through this podcast to not only let you know that we love you, to not only know, to not only tickle your ears with our opinion, but tickle your ears with the best opinions. Right?
That's it. That's the goal.
We're that. We are those dudes, and we want to do it on every platform. All right. So, hey, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us on this beautiful Friday. Make sure you have 7:00 Saturday night booked, or not booked, with a clean slate, and you got nothing else going on. Tell the kids to shut their mouth, right? They go to bed, because Tennessee might be playing Akron, but Tennessee's playing. It will be football time in Tennessee, and you should care. And if you don't, then we will
Pandemonium Reigns.
And we will say very nice things about you to your wife, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, thank you so much for listening. Have a fantastic weekend. God bless. Go Vols. We'll see you next time.
Thank you all.
Pandemonium Reigns.